What's up, everyone? I hope you guys are having a good day today. I'm a little bit under the weather, so bear with me if my voice sounds a little bit off or if I'm coughing or nasally. And today, I want to cover a topic. I want to talk about spiritual law. I want to talk about cause and effect, how everything has an equal and opposite reaction. And, this is proven in physics. We obviously have the science to back this up. This is a part of physics and quantum physics, but it's also spiritually true. And you can see evidence of it in life. You can see, I can drop a couple links down to the science aspects of it below. But I mean, out of the Kabbalion, the laws in the Kabbalion, which are also the Hermetic principles that are enumerated in the Emerald Tablets. One of the main laws is the law of cause and effect, right? And there's also the law of correspondence. And they're actually pretty similar. They actually are worded a little bit differently, but they are essentially, I've always kind of thought that they were extremely similar, and that's why I have never really been like, I'm looking up right now. I'm trying to see exactly like why and what the differences are. But the correspondence, your circumstances are a mirror of your inner being. That means to change your situation, you have to examine your inner self first. This law can be used to help yourself out of trouble along with the other laws. Right. I mean, the as above, so below, as within, so without. And, this is the type of stuff that we talk about on this channel, right? This is basically like the foundational piece of really like spirituality, as well as manifestation, as well as, just basic psychology as well, right? Because, the thoughts that the way that you see the world is going to be, your behavior is going to be governed by the way that you see things. And if you're looking through a distorted lens, and a lot of the times our reactions, our emotional reactivity in a situation, getting too caught up in that is a cloud over reality. And then we're unable, if I look back in my life, all the times that I have made the most rash, worst decisions of my life are when I'm caught up in emotional thinking. When I feel a certain way and I have to act on it because that is what I'm feeling in the moment. And it's usually driven by our lower nature. When we react to things in our external 3D that are not to our liking, or we perceive them to be not to our liking, even though, because again, we're looking through a distorted lens. And as human beings, from our past experiences, from our past traumas, from our childhood wounds, whatever it is, we do not see things. We all have these inherent biases. I have them, you have them. Everybody has them. Nobody is free from them. That is part of the human condition. And our task as human beings that are wanting to evolve on this journey of life is to reflect on that. Try to root out those foggy glasses or those weeds from the garden of the mind, so to speak, so that we are able to see with more clarity, so that we are able to not jump to conclusions so much, so that we are able to see things as they are, not as we mistakenly and misguidedly perceive them to be. And, one of my favorite books here actually is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And, so I'm going to read this little summary on Reddit because I think it will help shed light on this discussion here. The Four Agreements are an attempt to bring you inner peace. They are an attempt at reprogramming. There's been thousands of attempts over the years, so don't feel too bad if these don't resonate, but look for a path that makes you feel good. The power in these is undeniable. You can use them in every situation. They transcend rules, so you don't have to toss out old beliefs if you don't want to do that. If you agree and do your best to follow them, you can go to sleep at night with a clean conscience. Going to sleep at night with a clean conscience is one of the most underrated things that you can do for yourself in life. No matter what you may think that you are getting the upper hand on reality, that you are deceiving the people around you, that you are, creating a circumstance which is in your favor, even at the detriment of others, this law of cause and effect, it is at play. And what I want to express right now is this very deep truth that, look, even if you are operating from the paradigm of self-centeredness and you are looking out for you, numero uno, you don't really care about anybody else. All of us have thoughts at time to time, and there's a word for this called solipsism, which is that I couldn't care less about anybody else, right? All it is me. You kind of treat life like a video game, and everybody else is pawns in the game. And I've had friends like this. I've had people in my life that are like this, and we've had even conversations about this. And the thing about this is that while you may, in a short term, be able to extract some what you might consider positive gain from people around you by acting like this, it always comes back. And that's why the most prudent thing you can do, the most beneficial thing you can do for yourself in your life is to fall asleep with a clean conscience. Okay? Most people, when you go to sleep at night, I mean, it's not even most people, everybody knows if they've done wrong to people. Everybody knows if they have hurt people. Everybody knows if they are hurting people, in the process of hurting people, taking advantage of people. And as much as you want to rationalize it, as much as you want to say, oh, well, you can throw the victim card out there, blame your environment, blame society, blame the government, blame your best friend, blame your intimate partner, blame your family members. You can play this game all day long, right? But what you come to find out when you have a deeper understanding of reality and the way that life actually works is that doing these things, you will not be able to escape this law of cause and effect. I have seen people in my life, and to name just one friend of mine in particular, he is a narcissist, a grandiose narcissist. He will consistently put other people down and at their expense make himself feel better. Whatever. No need to go into the technicality of what he's done and all of this, but by your fruits shall you know them, right? And I was the first one out of my friend group to kind of call this behavior out, kind of take note of it. And funny enough, I had had conversations with our other friends in our friend group previously about how this person was kind of shady, kind of sketchy. And it all comes out in the wash in the end, is what I'm trying to say to you guys. Because now this guy is none of our friends that we were friends from in high school talk to him or want anything to do with him. I saw him over winter break, and he was clearly like on drugs, clearly not doing well, doesn't have any stable source of income. I think he's living with his mother at this point in time, and it's not what I'm trying. I'm not trying to put the blast on him or whatever. I'm just trying to tell you and express to you that the best thing that you can do in life is to be somebody who is impeccable with their word. And I'm going to go through these 4 agreements right now so that you guys have this kind of framework that I'm going to give you. And if you're familiar with this book, that's great. But these are things that you might forget over time, and especially if you're surrounded by negative influences. If you're taking in negative influences, like I said, people that think that this behavior is okay, people that justify it, you're going to allow it to, or let's say that you come from a broken home and a broken family, and this is what you've seen, and this is all that you're going to naturally revert to these types of behaviors because this is what you were familiar with. You can surround yourself with positive influences, but at the end of the day, it takes that inner work, it takes that inner reflection to really rise and really do and put into practice things that we talk about on this channel, these 4 agreements, which I'm about to go into right now. So number 1 being to be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. And I love this agreement. When I read this book initially, it resonated with me so deeply because I've always had a deep kind of disturbing feeling when I'm around people that gossip, around people that are super judgmental of other people. You know, there's a limit to this stuff, right? Like, we're all human beings. We might like poke a little fun here and there, but what I'm talking about is the repetitive gossip, the repetitive drama, the repetitive victimization of oneself, saying, hey, look, my boss is crazy, this person's doing this, my family members are like this, and constantly painting yourself as a victim, and constantly talking trash about, you know, all the people in your life. Um, and you know, one thing that I've come to realize is that when people are so, and this is why I talk about emotional control so much on this channel, guys, when it comes to manifesting, but manifesting and psychology and self-development are all different sides of the same coin. I mean, they're all, it's like a tree branch, or they're all branches of the same tree. And what you come as you have a deeper understanding of life is that all of these things are deeply, deeply connected. The way that you treat yourself is the way that you treat other people. The way that you think about yourself is it reflected in the way you treat other people. If you have an inner self-hatred, an inner self-insecurity, you will lash out at other people. And they say that, there's a quote that I heard recently, that anger is the bodyguard of fear. So when you're projecting this negativity out, realize people's egos leads them to believe that they are superior, that they are impacting, they're one-upping people. I'm doing this and they don't even know, I'm getting away with it. That's what the ego tells itself to try to comfort itself, for that inner, that weakness. Really what it is it's weak behavior. It's weakness. Lashing out at somebody in anger is a sign of weakness. It is covering up that deep insecurity. It is covering up that deep fear. And if you realize what I'm saying, you know, you may or may not realize what I'm saying right now, but as you go throughout life, I promise you, if you are genuine in your striving to become a better person, striving to become one with this kind of divine energy that flows through everything, that peace, that harmony, that love, you will come to understand what I'm saying, because eventually you do see the manifestation of the result of the seeds that you were planting in your reality. You plant weeds in your garden, you sow seeds of negativity, seeds of distrust, seeds of fear, seeds of vengeance, of vindictiveness, of you know, just hate, and you are going to reap that fruit. It can be no other way. And that's what is so powerful about coming to this understanding. And, you know, darkness cannot survive in the presence of light. You shine a light on those insecurities. You shine a light on the reason that you are getting this. You take a look in the mirror, and you might be filled with, once you are truly honest with yourself, you might be filled with a lot of shame, looking through the things that you've done to people, the way that you behaved towards people. But that's the only way that you can make an improvement. And I know it's tough, and I know that, you know, a lot of people that are like this, they're hurt. They're hurt people hurt people. And the people that are hurting inside are the ones that do this. The people that are lacking in integrity, the people that are liars, the people that, you know, are not impeccable with their word. It's the exact opposite. They think that they can lie to people. They think that it's going to, again, they think that that is how they're going to get what they want out of life. They completely fall victim to their emotional thinking. You know, people will ruin their lives from allowing their emotional thinking in the moment to guide them. People will commit murder. People will cheat on their loved ones from their long-term relationship and instantly ruin their entire relationship, you know, within a matter of minutes, within a matter of seconds even. And, you know, this is what happens with like school shooters, the school shootings that we've seen in this country. What is going on with those people? They're completely captured and clouded by their emotions. Do you think that those circumstances end up well for these people? Just take a look around in life and see what happens when you become misguided like this. See what happens when you lash out, when you have all that emotional, those negative emotions and those feelings, and they fester, and then you attack. Watch in reality what happens with these people that do this. When you use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love, you can actually kind of, you know, there's a interesting quote actually here that I saw, and it is from Vadim Zeland's Transurfing, and let me pull it up real quick, because it reminds me of something. I was talking to a woman named Becky Walsh the other day, and she's big on intuition and allowing that kind of the body and coming from a place of love again. Because if you are operating from that place of fear and lack and scarcity, and you're following your emotions, you're gonna be led to making terrible decisions. And I know I've done it in the past myself, and it never ends well. But when coming from that place of love, it's like almost like a glitch in the matrix, a glitch in reality. And this is a quote from Vadim Zeland that says, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you know the usual course of events, and that could be in one of these negative situations. In the book, he talks about somebody on a subway station that's trying to start a fight or stab somebody. He says, do something surprising, no matter what, something that does not fit into the standard development of events. The pendulum will be extinguished. And the pendulum is what these negative energies are. They can kind of take on, they can kind of take possession of people, it seems to me, in my experience. And that's what he talks about in this book as well. But the thing is, as long as you are acting according to a given scenario, you accept the pendulum's game. And that is what it is, what we talk about with reacting and non-reactivity. As long as you are reacting, that emotional state of reaction and reactivity, you're accepting the game. You give your energy away on that frequency. So somebody comes at you with this violent energy and you react violently. Now you've given in to that energy, right? And so it's very, very interesting that, Becky Walsh, she was telling me the other day that you can dissolve that type of thing with love. And I'm actually going to try to find her this part that she had written up here. There's a couple different parts in here, so I'm gonna look for it in here. Where is it? Love. Yeah, well, I'll try to find that. In the meantime, I'm going to go through the rest of these 4 agreements here. So we had that number 1, be impeccable with your word. And again, this right here is people that are not impeccable with their word are, if you're a liar, if you do things that are the opposite of what you say you're going to do, that is it's some of the weakest type of things that you could do, because not only are you that's the conundrum. That's the paradox that people get caught up in, is thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna lie and then I'm gonna get away with this lie. But the thing is that the more that you lie and the more that you're not impeccable with your word, the more that you can't believe yourself. And that is how you lose track of yourself. You lose track of who you are. You won't even know what you really truly think, what you truly believe anymore, when you get caught up in so many lies. And the thing is, you can't keep track of all the lies anymore, right? The more lies that you tell, the more that they compound, and the more that you're just digging yourself a deeper and deeper hole. And again, this law of cause and effect is going to come into play, and that is going to catch up with you. So 2, don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. And this one is just like a banger of a agreement here, because again, this comes at a very deep understanding. I'm going to read the rest. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you're immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Wow. And that is what it is. It is needless suffering. Others will, as they do, try to inflict their own suffering onto you. Others project, and I've ran into this recently, where there's so much, again, it comes back to the emotional thinking. When you have such an overt emotional reaction to something, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying when one does, when one is, and you observe this in somebody, and they say, I can't believe this is so bad, let's talk about in the act of, let's say, cheating. So you're watching a show with somebody and they can't help but just have a huge emotional outburst anytime somebody on any TV show is unfaithful, or they bring it up in passing that, oh my gosh, like, cheating, I can't believe it. They think that one of your friends is cheating. They think that one of your friends told them a lie. They make such a huge big deal out of it, and you're kind of sitting there like, what? Like, where is this coming from? That is projection. They are projecting onto you, and they come up with all this stuff about, oh, it would never just happen. People say it just happens. It could never just happen, right? But then you come to find out that the reason they're projecting all this onto you and then blaming you for cheating when you haven't, and you haven't done anything wrong, is because that is what they think. That is how they operate. And that is what they are doing. They're the ones that are cheating. They're the ones that are doing these things. And in order to distance themselves, because they're not impeccable with their word, because this all comes full circle, guys. The lies that they tell, because they're not impeccable with their word, they have to lash out at you. They have to project that insecurity onto you. They have to project it onto you. And this is what is at play when you are when you've fallen into your lower nature, when you are a low caliber human being, and you don't do any of these things. You don't work on yourself. You don't take an honest look and reflection in the mirror to try to grow and try to become better, because ultimately that's what we have to do, is we have to rise above that lower nature. Otherwise we're no better than an animal. And when we give into these feelings and emotions in the moment, and we're super fickle, and we go with the path of least resistance, that's what happens when you act in violence. You act in treachery and deceit. And like I said, you go and cheat on your significant other just because you have an argument, or you go and hurt somebody, you go and kill somebody because you are in the heat of the moment, and no matter what, it's justified in your mind. You can justify it. That your mind can play tricks on you and can come up with all kinds of rationalizations and justifications, but there never is a justification for that. This is what you have to understand. There's never a justification for that vitriol, that vengeance in the moment. And because we're all connected, because as human beings we are all spiritually, we can feel each other. We are connected on a very deep level. We all come from the same energy source, and again, quantum physics proves this. At a very deep level, the heart coherence, when you get into a room with somebody, you can feel the heart, you can feel the emotions, the other person can feel this. And what you're doing when you do that, when you inflict pain on somebody else and suffering on somebody else, you're doing it to yourself. So that's why the getting rid of the emotional thinking is so powerful, and it's going to be such a powerful tool as you embark on the journey of life. And there's always going to be situations where, yeah, and it's like, don't beat yourself up about it, because at the end of the day, you're a human being, you experience emotions, but you're going to find that the more that you give in to these low nature emotions, these lower vibrational emotions, this darkness, this dark energy, the more that you're going to have more of that in your life. You're going to be surrounded by it. You're going to end up in a swamp full of it, and you won't be able to escape. There's going to be a point, there's all these little turning points in life where you get to make a decision, and you make these decisions, and you can get arrested you can get thrown, you can get killed, you can get thrown in prison, you can be driving drunk and run somebody over, and you can ruin your life by allowing those emotions to guide you rather than your rational, calm, logical thinking mind. And it's a shame. It's a shame that people give into these things and allow their lives to be destroyed by them. They give into a drug addiction, they give into this, they give into that, they commit suicide. And it's funny with this, I mean, not funny at all, but it's just, I heard recently that the suicide thing, people will have this idea of suicide, that I need to commit suicide, but usually it only lasts about 30 minutes. So if you can allow that feeling that you allow to overtake you, those emotions to just pass, if you can sit there with the emotions and feel them and be present with them, so you don't act on them, but you don't suppress them either, because suppressing those emotions can actually cause a lot of inner tension and disease. But allowing them to feel and then pass through you, then you can have that calm response. Then you can choose what you want to do in a calm way, where you're not actively hurting others, where you're not actively doing. And if something's not the right choice for you, if you come to that rational understanding, you can always say, hey, look, and have that conversation with the person. But that act of vengeance, it never works out well. It never does. So don't take anything personally. Again, nothing others do is because of you. And realizing this, this is kind of different than what these people parrot in the Neville community, that everyone is you pushed out thing. And again, this is a different framework. But this is a framework that I actually think makes way more sense than that. You can persist in the ideal of what somebody's going to be, but people will eventually show you their true colors. People will eventually reveal their true character to you, and it's your job to believe them when they reveal that to you. So what others and say and do is a projection of their reality, of their false dream. It's their dream, and they will project it onto you. They will project it as much as they want, but you remain calm and steadfast, and know that know your truth, and your truth doesn't have to be swayed by them. One exercise that I've heard from Robert Greene as well is that, when these people are doing this to you, when they're directing all this negative energy towards you and all this hate and all this anger and lashing out, and again, it's a symptom of that immaturity, that childish, that weak, pathetic person. And you see them for what they are. You see them for a little child throwing a tantrum, for a little 2-year-old, and you won't take that seriously, will you? Or you won't take somebody that has a mental illness. You won't take them completely seriously, right? Like the crazy person on the subway, or the person that's the completely psycho person, and that's what they are in those that's what they are in those moments. They've gone psycho. So you just stay, like I said, stay steadfast in what you know to be true. You become immune to the opinions and actions of others, and you won't become the victim of needless suffering. So number 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, sadness, and drama. Again, all of these are connected, right? We just spoke about this. With just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. And when you jump to conclusions, when you make these assumptions, that is when you make these rash decisions that we just talked about, acting on emotion, acting on, oh, well, I feel like this, so now I'm going to go do this to alleviate this feeling, right? I'm going to go do this hurt thing to be hurtful to this person, to inflict suffering, and now I'm going to going to feel a little bit relieved in the moment that I was able to, inflict suffering on this other person. And again, the law of cause and effect, guys. What you sow is what you reap. So you inflicting suffering on somebody else, you are bringing suffering to yourself. If you look at somebody else through the eyes of love and compassion, through the eyes of forgiveness, through the eyes of understanding, then you are going to reap the fruits. Reap those fruits. By your fruits shall ye be known. And it's true. It is a truth. So having that ability to communicate with people, having that ability to calm yourself and be emotionally detached in tension, to be able to, be able to observe yourself, be present in the moment. You don't allow that pain body, as Eckhart Tolle talks about, to take over. That is that lower nature. And have that stillness, have that ability to, sit still. If you're hypersensitized all the time, if you always need this overstimulation, it's ruining your life. It's ruining your ability to make clear decision making. It's ruining your ability to have clear, calm reflection about yourself, about your life, about how your actions have consequences, because your actions do have consequences. And to deny that reality, you are living in a fake reality. You are living in a fantasy land if you think that your actions do not have consequences, because they do. And especially when you make very rash actions. I mean, I can give those extreme examples again, the school shootings, or people that go out and get behind the wheel when they're blackout drunk. I mean, those actions have severe repercussions and consequences. And to ignore that is to lie to yourself. And again, it becomes reflected back to you. As much as you want to think that, oh yeah, I'm that person that gets away with everything, it will catch up to you. It will catch up to you. So, number 4, always do your best. Your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick. Under any circumstance, simply do your best, and you will avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. And again, this goes hand in hand because, this ties in directly with being impeccable with your word. If you see yourself as somebody that is, you have good self-esteem, you have healthy self-esteem. I've talked about this in many videos recently. It's going to be reflected in your actions, because somebody that loves themselves and somebody that puts themselves in high regard and truly values themselves as a person is also going to be impeccable with their word. They're also not going to condemn all of these things like cheating, lying, violence, and then engage in them right afterwards. The two simply cannot exist. You simply cannot have healthy self-esteem and engage in those behaviors, because you know that when you have that self-love, that's when you're able to truly love other people. It's only when you don't have the self-love that you have that anger and vitriol towards other people. And the two are there's two sides of the same coin. And again, if you realize what I'm saying, then props to you. You are at a very good place in your understanding of life, and you're probably going to reap good fruits in life because you understand what I'm talking about. If you still don't understand what I'm saying, then it may take some reflection. It may take more life experience, depending on where you're at in your life, what chapter you're at in your life. And through your life experience, you may not be ready for this information yet. And like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so if you're watching this video, if it is resonating with you, if you do understand what I'm talking about, then bravo. That is an amazing sign. And you, like I said, I truly believe that this, is coming to you for a reason. I believe that there's a synchronicity in the universe. I love making these videos because I like to put out the intention that they are reaching the right people and they are having a positive impact and, enhancing the quality of your life, because that's what I've been able to do. One of the reasons I like making these videos is I love listening to people talk about psychology, reality, like spiritual laws and self-development, how to become a better version of myself. I know that there are inadequacies in myself. I know that when my mother died when I was very young, I know that caused a lot of trauma for me. Obviously all of us experience some form of trauma in one way or another, and so I'm very interested in psychology, and I'm very interested in trying to develop oneself into the best version that you can be, because I really believe that we can get past our traumas. We can, even if we have all these negative experiences and we might have some post-traumatic stress and things that we've overcome. Some of those people in those concentration camps were able to overcome it. Some people, they were so hurt, and in every given moment you have a choice. And when you've been hurt by the past, when you have suffered through pain, you have the choice to take the path of, do you want to be the person that continues that pain? You want to be the person that continues that cycle, that generational cycle. You want to raise children in an environment where they suffer through more pain and they create more and more pain for the people when they grow up? Or do you want to be the person that reverses it? Do you want to be the person that says, hey, look, I went through all this pain, and because of that, I don't want anybody else to feel this pain that I felt. And it's a choice. It's a choice in a moment-to-moment basis. You always have that choice, but the choice comes from getting rid of that lower nature emotional thinking, from those emotions taking over you. Because again, those allowing, you can make a snap decision that can affect the complete trajectory of your life. You can get in the car drunk and get in and kill somebody, run somebody over, and you have a completely different life from a decision that you made just like that. You can go and cheat on your partner, who maybe you were going to raise a family together with, maybe you were going to have a beautiful life together. You go and make that snap second decision because of the way you feel in the moment, and that your life track now is completely different. You'll never get to experience the fulfillment of that reality now, because you gave into those lower emotions. And so it really is a journey about, understanding yourself and all of these things, being impeccable with your word, not taking things so personally, not making assumptions, not jumping to conclusions too quickly, and always doing your best. Because deep down, like you know right from wrong. As much as you want to justify it, as much as you want to rationalize it, if you surround yourself with positive influences, if you read good things, you read good books, you eat well, you take care of yourself, you try to become a better person, you will know, and you will be able to have that healthy self-reflection. But when you give into your vices, when you give into negativity, when you give into that lower nature, when you give into that dark energy, then you distance yourself from yourself. You lose your self-respect, and it becomes a vicious cycle, guys. I have people in my life that, they're addicted to drugs. I have people in my life that are completely bankrupt, of morality. People that I've met and come across, and you can also just people are some of these people are very good at hiding it, but you can only hide it for so long. And you're going to the other thing that's sad about this is those people that are very manipulative, they always have, because their relationships are always short lasted, and that's why they don't have friends. That's why the friends that they have, they don't really get along with. And if you find out too that somebody tells you that, look, all my past relationships, the person always cheated on me, or they always effed me over and it was always there, and they play the victim like this, that's a red flag, because these people are projecting the things that they've done onto other people. And it's good to know somebody. It's good to know the people in your life and to know other people that know them. And the dating app thing is kind of dangerous now, because now everybody's meeting up and you don't know these people at all. You don't know any of their people that they know. You don't know anything about their past. All you know is what they tell you. And if you're a trusting person who doesn't make assumptions and is somebody that kind of goes with the principles that we're talking about here, then you're going to want to believe and see the best in people. And I don't want you guys to look at life through this very darkened view that everybody is out here just trying to get one over on everybody. I mean, there is a reality of that. The reality of out there exists, and that's why I want us to not be naive. But I also want us to be able to continue that goodness that we have within us, and to continue to see the best in people, but also believe people when they show us who they are. Because again, that's the holistic approach. That's the balanced approach that I talk about on this channel. You can persist in the end, persist that, oh, this situation is going to be good. This person, I see the best in them. But once they've shown you, once they've shown you what their character is, and they have a complete lack of integrity, you have to believe them. You have to believe them when they show you that. So, kind of a little bit of an interesting video that we're doing here, because we're covering a lot of different topics, but that spiritual law of cause and effect and the laws of correspondence, when you're feeling those negative emotions, when you're feeling that self-pity, self-hate, you're victimizing yourself, and all of that stuff, it's going to it's going to be reflected in your outer reality, guys. Like, the more that you're able to take responsibility and take accountability for who you are and for the results that you're getting in your life, the more power that you have. That's the beautiful thing, is that by doing that work, you are actually just imbuing yourself with so much power. I'm gonna read a quote to you guys that I just found. Real growth is when you start checking and correcting yourself instead of blaming others. You take your power back by being responsible for your life. And here's another one. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And if you know that you are this person, there are people that are these very damaged people walking around here, but they've eventually, I see this on YouTube actually, like people that are self-reformed narcissists, and people that are, liars and cheaters and things like bad people. And they've come onto YouTube to express that, hey, look, I was like this, and I wanted to get a hold on it. I went to therapy. I went and I talked about it, and now I'm reformed, and I'm in remission, or whatever you want to call it. And now I'm teaching other people how to spot this behavior, how to avoid it, how to get rid of manipulative people in your life, how to spot it, and how to kind of assess and be discerning and know how to deal with these people, because you will run into these people. That is guaranteed in life. Unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in, and the faster that you are able to identify it, the more that you are going to be able to protect yourself, protect your energy, and be a person who is steadfast in your thinking, in what you know is right. Um, you know, it's a process, guys, and don't beat yourself up just because somebody did something to you. Again, don't take anything personally. People, and it could be your parents. Maybe you are like this because you were suffered in your childhood. In fact, most of the time, that's what it is. They say that narcissism develops either from abuse and neglect or from that overly protective thing where the mother coddles the child too much and is too much of this and idealizing them too much. And this always, it all goes back to, I love that pendulum example that I give you guys too, because it's like that needing too much, and then that fearful avoidant thing. They're both these extremes, and the more that you're able to cut out, and then the principle of rhythm, right, that we talk about in the Kabbalion, basically guarantees the polarity of this to this, that you're going to switch back and forth. So as much as you idealize somebody, as much as you love them, as much as you put something on a pedestal, then you're going to eventually have that fear come in. Oh, I don't think this is going to work. What if it's not going to work? They're hating me, they're rejecting me, they're abandoning me. It may not be true. Your emotions may be lying to you in the moment, but that's what's going to happen when you have these extremes on this extreme polarity. When you're balanced, when you have a secure attachment style, there's that anxious attachment style, there's the avoidant attachment style, the neediness, then the avoidance. And if you have that secure attachment style, you're going to be secure in yourself. You're going to trust them. Relationships are built on trust, and it is a very, very sad thing when you realize that you can't trust the person that you were supposed to trust, the person that you thought you trusted the most, the person that you thought had your back more than anybody, your best friend. It can be extremely disheartening to realize that that person wasn't who you thought that they were. And being though like this, instead of allowing yourself to get caught up in those big violent negative emotional swings, is how you're going to achieve what it is that you want. You're going to find that person that's secure. You're going to find that person that has a secure attachment style. You're going to find that person that you want by going through the mud, by dragging yourself out of the mud, going about your life, and just embracing the journey, embracing the process. A lot of the times, like in Maxwell Maltz's book, he says that failure is like your success mechanism. So by having failures, that's how you learn, that's how you grow. And going for an experience and saying, hey, look, this didn't work out. And, assessing how can I adjust now? How can I, improve and learn from this and take the lessons from this, is just the healthiest approach that you can have. And it goes for business too, it goes for life, it goes for everything. But taking an honest look in the mirror, not lashing out at the people around you. Friends that cannot take accountability at all for their actions, like I kind of gave this example the other day, but it's like this guy and guys that I know are like, girls, they'll be around these girls, and the girls will like consistently time and again be like, yo, what's wrong with your friend? Like, what's up with him? Like, he's weird. If you're a guy, you could probably relate to this, because there's a lot of guys that will do this, right? They'll make girls uncomfortable. And the lack of accountability, the lack of self-reflection that some of these guys have is pretty astounding. It's pretty telling about their character as well, that they're unable to look at themselves. They're unable to say, hey, look, yeah, you know what? Maybe I was doing something that was off-putting. Maybe I was coming on way too strong, actually. Maybe I was being too aggressive, too bitter, because I'm having this neediness. They have that neediness, right? They want the girls to approve of them. They want the girls to, obviously they want to take them to bed. And if the girl like senses that strong need, it's creepy. That's what girls call guys, it's creepy or whatever, right? I mean, granted, there are bad apples when it comes to men and women. So maybe it's not always the guy at fault in some of these situations. Maybe she's just trying to paint a guy in a bad light. But when it becomes a pattern that you see over and over again, it's like, again, Believe the person. Believe that pattern that is unfolding. People show you who they are, and you have to look at their actions, not their words. They can defend, they can deny, they can deflect, they can project, right? They can accuse you of doing the thing that they've been doing. But when you know in your heart of hearts, and you have that healthy self-esteem, and that's why all of this is connected, guys. When you have that healthy self-esteem, that's when you can truly look and reflect and say, hey, look, like, I know that this is not true. I know that this is not true. And I'm not going to allow myself to get jerked around by this person who is trying to make me feel guilty for something that I never even did. Um, and, if you want to talk about like manifestation, if you want to talk about the ability to create your reality, the foundational piece of that is like having integrity with yourself. Okay, the more that you lie to yourself, the more that you lie to others, the more that you're chipping away at that self integrity, the more that you're chipping away at your sense of self, because you can't keep up with the lies in your head anymore. Either you don't know what's true, what's not true. You're living a lie. You're a walking living lie. You're a walking living fiction. And you're not you're creating a hell on earth for yourself and for everybody around you. And I hope that people can understand what I'm saying here. People can take this and use it in a positive direction. Whether it's something that you were watching and you're saying, oh yeah, I can see where I've been going wrong, or you see that people around you are engaging in this type of behavior, and then distancing yourself from those people. That ultimately is what is necessary to protect yourself, to protect your energy. I actually have a video. I'm going to do a video about, how to identify these types of toxic, manipulative people. And then I'm also going to do a video on how to protect your energy from them, and like specific tools or techniques that you can use, or principles you can use to protect your energy again. And that also can go in a crowded room. If you're a very empathetic person, you might go into a crowded place and feel all everybody's negative emotions directed at you. Or let's say you're in a nightclub or some sort of venue, and you can feel everybody looking at you with these eyes of judgment. I have some techniques that I want to share with you guys that I've found over the course of the years through different mentors and different different places that I found that actually work quite well for that. And having that ability also, as much as it's an interesting thing. I was watching Neville Goddess the other day talking about having too much empathy. And I think a lot of us that get into self-development, self-help, and manifesting and doing mindset work, we actually are pretty empathetic people. And I think that there comes a time, and Neville Goddess mentioned this, where she was watching some show and she was found that it was like totally consuming herself and totally getting consumed in these people's emotions and what was going on in their lives. And she she had this phrase that she started saying to herself, which was that like, that is not my pain to feel. And, I think this can be a really valuable kind of thing to do for yourself. If you find yourself getting swept up into that emotional thinking, swept up in these emotions, and it's not relevant to you, it might be something on the news that you see, it could be something going on with somebody that you know, or it could be, somebody directing negative energy towards you, and it's just like, that's not my pain to feel. These people are in pain, that's why they're directing this towards me, but it's not my pain to feel. And like I said, I have some other techniques. Another one is like dissolving the person in love, because like darkness cannot survive in the presence of light. And so if you see this for what they are, if you see that this anger is a projection of their fear and their little tantrum that they're throwing, then you're not going to be as affected by it, right? You're just simply not. There's so much that I could go into. I mean, I love Robert Greene. I love his books on the laws of human nature, because again, psychology and manifesting mindset, whatever you want to call it, is all incredibly interlinked. And Neville Goddess talks about this a lot. I would love to do an interview with her as well, because the people that have this holistic approach, they have this healthy approach, those are the people that are actually getting results with this, not the people that are dogmatically preaching the same Neville Goddard phrases or acronyms in these Reddit communities. It's the people that actually are doing the work through experience. They're applying it, right? It's like the difference between going to a professor teaching you about a topic at a university or business, right? That he's never made a business of his own, right? He's never started a business. Or going to a business owner who's a multimillionaire, and then him telling you about business. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between theory and actual application. So, showing up for yourself in that best way that you know how, it involves a lot of this stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. And that's why I'm also excited about opening up this group coaching program for everybody. And the course, it's going to be awesome. And, creating this life that you want, creating it's a life journey. It's a life process. And it comes to being able to see things clearly. And a lot of the times that involves that getting out of that emotional thinking, because as soon as we get caught up in that emotional thinking and that lower nature, that's when we start to distort the lens through which we see things. That's when we make those rash decisions. That's when we react to the 3D, as all these gurus and manifesting teachers talk about online. And in order to stop reacting to the 3D, we have to be able to calm the nervous system, do nervous system regulation. I have tools for that I can give you guys, and I will be sharing many of them in the coaching program. Some of them are available on YouTube. And then it is about seeing things clearly, tapping into your intuition. And I'm going to have a conversation with Becky Walsh here pretty soon, giving you guys some tools to be able to do that as well, because that's something that I've had a big interest in, is how to tap into your intuition when it comes to making choices, when it comes to making decisions in your life about, do I want to take this path? Do I want to take this path? Is this person worth my time? Is this person not worth my time? Is this trustworthy or not trustworthy? Following that gut intuition and can be very powerful. Also for your creativity. If you want to be creative, allowing that intuition to guide you in a positive way through that love, through that divine energy coming through, not in that negative, fearful, hating type of emotion. So there's a lot of cool things that I'm very excited for about on the channel that are coming soon. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys would like to see more of. I've been trying to just give you guys some more original videos. I like doing the Reddit breakdown posts, but there comes a time where, a lot of it seems to be repetitive and repeated information. And I think that past a certain point, the Neville subreddit is well and good. There are definitely good golden nuggets to be taken from there. That is without a doubt. And I have shared some of a lot of them, probably most of what that subreddit has to offer. I have shared on my channel with breakdowns in terms of my understandings of them and how I think that you can use them in an even more effective way. But I'd like to do more things that are just grounded in straight up psychology, straight up, current cutting edge science, and really to be that version of yourself that is able to draw in the results that you want into your life, because ultimately it comes down to you, right? As within, so without. And so when you become that person, that version of yourself, when you start embodying and showing up as that version of yourself that is self-controlled, that is self-assured, that is self-confident, that is treating themselves well, and that again is reflected in all of your actions. Are you getting physical activity? Are you slovenly? Are you leaving your home in disarray? Are you these are all just random things that come to mind. But the thing is like, what is your character? Do you have integrity? Do you have like all of these foundational pieces? Because if you don't, your ability to draw those things into your life and sustain them again is not going to be there. Because again, that means you have low integrity. That means you have no integrity. If you're not impeccable with your word, if you're lying to yourself, lying to others, cheating, if you're doing all these things, you're not going to have good manifesting abilities. You're going to be a weak person because you don't have that integrity with yourself. Because ultimately, deep down inside who you are. You know your character. Even if you think you can pull the wool over everybody's eyes and you're a wolf in sheep's clothing and everybody thinks that you're the victim and you're just a child, you just want to sit there and be coddled and told everything's okay and be rescued out of every situation. Eventually, what's the word? There's an expression. But like I said, it all comes out in the end. So with that being said, guys, a lot of things covered in this. We're going to go into more videos about the subconscious, about intuition, about emotions, how your feelings and your emotions can actually be like lying to you. And, there's just a lot of stuff that I'm going to be covering here soon, which is going to be very, very helpful in terms of understanding why you're getting the results that you're getting in your life and why and how we're going to be able to impact those in a positive way. Fear can stop your journey and leave you paralyzed. Fear can drive you off your path in pursuit of someone else's, giving your personal power away. Understanding these voices in your head, giving them names, means you can be in communication with them. You can sit at the back of the bus and shut up if needed. You might like to engage the inner critic with the inner pleaser and address some of the critic's fears with love, or you might just sit and listen. And that is what it is to be the observer of your thoughts, to not get caught up in that chatter of the mind, not get caught up in those emotions, because your emotions are transitory, and you have that lower part of yourself that's throwing the tantrum, that's throwing the blame on everybody else. And the more that you're able to observe that calmly, the more that you're able to act in a way that is good, act in a way that is going to lead you to a positive outcome for yourself and everyone involved. Very, very powerful. It's very, very powerful to have this inner reflection. Love, I'm going to read a little bit of this excerpt here. Once we understand that, okay, look, so here's some things about emotions and how they can lie to us, okay? Let's see here. I'm going to read this whole thing. What are emotions? Emotions are the language that allows us to identify and describe how we're feeling at any given moment. Logically, we can therefore make distinctions between emotions and feelings themselves. These feelings are literal sensations in the body which we associate with emotional states. When we detect and identify a feeling, it has become an emotion. An identified feeling. See, our feelings can lie to us. We could be around somebody that we're interested in and have that kind of feeling of nervousness. It could be excitedness, it could be fear, but it shows up in the same way of feeling because we label these emotions based on our distorted lens of reality. On an energetic level, the perception of an outside event has caused an energetic response in the emotional body. When this response is powerful enough, it will be experienced as a physical sensation. The body then produces chemical signals which correspond to the emotion, and these chemical signals carry the emotional energy into every cell of the body. There may be many things that trigger an emotional response. Primarily our mood, our emotional state, is determined not so much by what happens to us, but by the way we perceive what happens to us. Ding, ding, ding. Our thoughts and what we tell ourselves about our situation. If we do not get the dream job we hope for, we could tell ourselves it was simply not meant to be and look forward to the next opportunity, or we can bemoan our ill fortune, cursing the universe for denying us our big chance. The body will also affect our mood, as emotions are physically experienced in the body. Fear may manifest as a sick feeling in the pit of the stomach, while sadness may feel around the heart center, around the eyes, anger in the arms and legs. Sometimes it's possible to change how we're feeling simply by adjusting our posture or breathing. You see how easily and quickly you can change how you feel? When you're not feeling those good feelings, it's very easy to change. A combination of body posture, breath, mind, our thoughts, beliefs, and spirit, our true selves, that produces our emotional state, which itself affects and informs our behavior, how we act. So that is the spirit, our true selves, the mind, thoughts, and belief. That is your character. And that is what determines when you go through a negative emotion, are you going to act rashly? Are you going to do something that causes harm to yourself, to others around you? That's a reflection of your character. It's not because of the external event, it's because of your reaction to the event. Emotions are messages. They're communication between our mind and body and spirit, with our mind as mediator. Emotions may arise directly from the body, from past experiences, from our beliefs, from deep within the subconscious, or from our higher self. They are another necessary system within our body's systems of systems, and their purpose is always our preservation and to act as signposts to fulfillment. They can be our guidance system, if you will. By responding effectively to our emotions, it is sometimes possible to avoid damaging or painful circumstances. That's right. They're, in a very real sense, another type of energy. Sometimes this energy can be powerful, as anyone who's ever experienced life-changing turmoil of falling in love will know. An emotion, therefore, is also a valuable tool that can alert you to a possible problem in need of attention, but also brings necessary energy to tackle the problem. Okay, and one of the things to take note about this as well is that when you get triggered, something in your environment, something in your external 3D triggers you. It could be somebody saying something. It could be, whatever, like being in traffic. It could be, like I said in the example before, the cheating thing. You see somebody cheating on TV and you get this huge triggered reaction. Or you're in an argument with your partner. They ask you, your partner asks you which direction to go, and you fly into a rage, a hysterical fit because they asked you which direction to go. That's not about the circumstance. That's not about the thing happening in the moment. It is because it is triggering this some sort of like some sort of wound or some sort of trauma or some sort of thing that you have that is a product of a past experience, and you are feeling that emotion, projecting that onto that person. And we're all guilty of it. I mean, sometimes I get real pissed in traffic too. But it's not about the person in the traffic thing. It's about some other unresolved thing going on inside, something else that I was angry about during the day, something else that happened maybe that day or previously in the week. And all of that anger gets projected onto that person or that circumstance. So look, when we experience emotion, we tend to do one of three things. Express the emotion, putting it out there. We may feel that we are being made to feel a certain way by someone else, in which case we may have some kind of emotional outburst, dumping all that energy outside of ourselves, often in the form of blame, self-pity, anger, or recrimination. This is a tremendous waste of energy. It does no good either for us or for whatever or whoever is the supposed cause of our outburst. We may feel justified in response, and we may feel better afterwards, tell ourselves that we feel better afterwards, but this reaction simply sentences ourselves to repeat the exact same patterns of behavior that have caused the issue again in the future. There is that law of cause and effect again. Look at what you do. You plant the seeds and you are guaranteed to reap that fruit. It's just the way that it is. Not to mention that releasing big negative farts of emotional energy into the space you share with others is just as antisocial, unattractive, and unpleasant as a real fart in the elevator. So repress it. To repress it, to ignore it, to bottle it up, refusing it to let it have any expression. This course of action can lead to huge amounts of energy, usually negative, being stored in the body. The body is not designed as a storehouse for negativity and eventually will register with disease in itself, making you ill. Understanding, to honor the understanding emotion. Once we understand that an emotion can be a message from our authentic self, we can accept the message and understand why we were feeling a particular way. Once that understanding enters into our reality, then immediately a catharsis or release takes place. We are freed from another of the chains that bind us, and in so doing, we are subtly charged by the emotion. This, I believe, is why people sometimes have problems dealing with emotions. Because on some level, dealing with an emotion involves change, and we naturally resist change. We fear it. We also don't like to own or acknowledge emotions that we think of as negative, such as anger, jealousy, resentfulness, because we believe to do so makes us an angry, jealous, resentful person. That's why we like to project it and put the blame on other people. Because society gives us the unhelpful myth that good people do not experience bad feelings when we do, and we do not deal with them. But to slightly mangle the words of William Shakespeare, there is nothing in this world for good or ill, but thinking makes it so. Something that may appear at first to be a blessing may offer no fulfillment, like some job that you think is the best job ever, but it's actually just basically slave labor when you start it. Or while a situation which begins as a nightmare may lead you to a completely different experience of yourself, enabling you to achieve far grander dreams. Good and bad, right and wrong are relative judgments, not absolutes. It is far more helpful to think in terms of your aims and what helps you or hinders you from achieving those aims. There you go. Again, when you have that integrity with yourself and when you have that honesty and you are impeccable with your word and you don't make assumptions and you do all the things that we discussed in the 4 agreements. Let's see what the other ones are. You always do your best and you don't take anything personally. Then you think with foresight. You think, well, how is this going to help me achieve my goals? What are my goals? What is it that I want in my life? Do I want good people around me in my life? Do I want to have a healthy relationship? Do I want to, eventually raise a healthy family, live in a state of harmony, and be truthful and honest person? Or do I want to be, stoop into these lower level thinkings, live, quote unquote, in the moment, give into my lower nature, be vengeful, vindictive, be an angry, bitter person, because eventually I'm going to reap if you have that understanding, you're going to reap the seed, the fruit of the seeds that you sow. And then you can say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I have this emotional feeling. I have this feeling right now. But if I act on this, it's going to cause pain for me down the road. It's going to cause pain to the people that I claim, at least, that I love. And I don't want to do that. Even though maybe somebody else has caused me pain, I don't want to continue that cycle of pain. I want to be the person that, tries to make the world better. And I want to do, here's the thing, is we all have this lower nature. And it's like every day it's kind of a battle. You have this lower nature, it's pulling at you, but you also have your higher nature. And that's why it's a choice. We all have a bit of narcissistic tendencies, but the full-on narcissist is the person that gives into that. Again, they're operating from that solipsistic point of view, and it's going to come back to them. Robert Greene says that Robert Oppenheimer was able to, or Dr. Oppenheimer, forget what his first name is. In that movie, if you saw it with Cillian Murphy, pretty good movie. I love Cillian Murphy. He was able to get past his own narcissism by putting himself into work. And that's what you can do. If you have these kind of narcissistic traits, as we all do a bit, you can work. You can throw yourself into your work, do something that is making a positive impact in the world. And in his case, unfortunately, it literally made an impact that wasn't very positive in Oppenheimer's case. Not at all. The complete opposite. But if you put yourself into your work, if you do something that like operating from that principle in Ikigai, where it's something that you love, something that you're good at, something that the world needs, something that can make you money, and you do that, then you can lean into that aspect of your personality in a positive way. You can turn it, you can transmute lead into gold, because then you're creating something of value for people. That's like, for instance, what I would say Elon Musk does that, or people that are creating things of value into the world, authors, speakers, teachers, even YouTubers online. They have that desire to be given attention. We all have a desire to be admired, to be loved. And instead of using it in that negative sense and like drawing negative energy to you and around you by putting other people down and trying to make yourself feel better and triangulating people and using manipulation, just create something of value to the world. Just create something that the world needs, that the world finds good. And you're going to get some of that. You're going to get that attention. You're going to get that validation that you crave so badly. There's ways that you can be in life. There's ways that everything is a choice all the time. And if you feel like that need for approval from others, or that need for, being out there, being social, putting yourself out there, having those fun experiences, there's ways to get that without being deceitful, without being manipulative, without lying to people, without trying to pull the rug out from under people and making other people suffer. Again, this is going to cause more suffering for yourself by doing all of this stuff. So here, the last part of this thing about the spectrum of emotions says, all emotions can be placed somewhere on a spectrum that has love at one end and fear at the other. There we go, the pendulum example again. We might think that the opposite of love is hate, but love and hate are but horns of the same goat. They are born out of the same impulse. Hate is not the opposite of love. Hate is love corrupted by fear. Likewise, courage is not the opposite of fear, but rather love in spite of fear. Very interesting. And ultimately, that's what I'm talking about in this whole video, is like that hate is, maybe that's what's going on, is that the love being corrupted by fear leads to hate. It's like the inverse on the pole. And courage is that ability to be vulnerable, that ability to tell the person what you're feeling in a loving way, to meet them with kindness and compassion and forgiveness, and try to be somebody that, has an open line of communication, expresses how you feel, and really just, if something's not working with somebody, telling them like, hey, look, maybe we should take a break. Maybe we should do this. Maybe we should try this. And that goes for romantic relationships. It goes for business. But going out and being vengeful and spiteful to somebody, it's not going to, you're going to reap those fruits down the road. Now she's going on to say, in fact, love and fear are the only two emotions there are. Every other emotion is born of these two opposites. Thoughts and feelings at the love end of the spectrum are of high, light, positive vibration, while those at the fear are the lower vibration will be dull, hence dense, heavy, and negative. Love is joyful, hopeful, trusting, and optimistic. Love brings us closer to the full experience of ourselves and of life. Love joins us together, allowing us to see that we are all intimately connected. And that's what I was saying earlier, guys. Fear is mistrustful. Fear tells lies. Fear tells us that there are things that we need that we do not have. We must compete to get them, putting down others in the process. Fear separates us, isolates us. Fear leads us to close our eyes to the truth. And that is what I'm saying, guys. That's why those emotions cloud your reality, and then that you are living in a false reality. Fear justifies inflicting pain and suffering on others. Fear leads to pain and unhappiness for ourselves. And I couldn't say that any better. That's so well stated here. And this is right here. I'm reading this from Becky Walsh. She has a product here called the Listening Emotions that I'm reading through. So intuition can also be placed on a spectrum that has love at one end and fear on the other. Love is at one end of the sound spectrum and fear is at the other. One form serves the ego, one other serves love. One has a high pitched love and love vibration, the other has a low pitched fear vibration. Ego-based intuition looks to keep you protected. It makes decisions through the filter of the ego, which also means any psychological baggage that you may be carrying will be added into the filter of your intuition. There you go. That's why your emotions lie to you. That's why your feelings lie. I believe this is why many people don't feel safe to trust their intuition. They're listening to the wrong form of knowing. When you listen to love, it has no words, but it knows profoundly. It speaks of joy and resolution. It moves towards love over fear. Love-based intuition doesn't work on the development of the ego's belief in its problems and fears. It shines a light into the only real truth there is, love. When I work with clients, I take their belief in their problem seriously, but don't consider they have a problem. To me, some are in a holding pattern of unhappiness whilst they're waiting for more information. I give them that information so they can move through something holding them in their ego. This way, between the two of us, we can bring more love into life. During the session, if I'm not feeling love for the client, I might conclude the appointment because they're not ready for that love to break through. But if I do not love, then I know I have my own ego filter on during the appointment. This means I've had a bad relationship with my ex rockstar boyfriend. I might see bad things about my client's relationship with her fabulous rockstar boyfriend. Ego intuition looks everywhere for information that might be useful. And again, that's where the triggering things come up. This is actually reminds me of this situation. So that's why I'm getting abnormally triggered. I'm having a completely inappropriate reaction to this. Love intuition simply listens for the sound resonance. It's an alignment or it's not. As the intuitive inquirer, you can then become curious about what you feel and have more accurate information. But the trick is to stay in the higher pitch of a loving resonance. Love expands and fear limits. We want to make decisions on life from the heart, not from the head. And the head, I would say though, not from those lower emotions, because you can make if you're engaged in that logical, rational thinking, you can make much better decisions than you're being engaged with those lower negative emotions. I mean, you're going to make the worst decisions you could possibly make by being engaged in those. Manifestation and emotions. Manifestation has become a spiritual buzzword lately. Okay, so she goes on to talk about like manifesting with the mechanics of manifestation, the new paradigm of intuitive thinking. And yeah, the thing is with this is going more into like technical, like things that we cover, things that we already know here on the channel if we're watching this for the most part. Through your intuition, you can really hear and be mindful of what you're manifesting. You can use it to cut between the ego voice and your emotions. And yeah, but again, what it comes back to is like coming from that place of love, coming from that place of positivity. Because again, the law of cause and effect, that is what you're going to create more of in your life. Anyways, guys, much love. I hope that what I've said here, even though it's a longer video, I hope that it deepens your understanding. I hope that it gives you some food for thought. I hope that it really, really, really empowers you to understand that this garden that I talk about, garden of the mind, is real. It is a real thing. The more that you are planting those beautiful seeds of those things of beauty, those beautiful flowers, those beautiful trees, you are going to reap that harvest. It can be no other way. You plant seeds of negativity, seeds of ill will, seeds of discontent, seeds of discord, vengefulness, vindictiveness. You are going to reap those seeds, those fruits in your reality. And by your fruits, you shall know them. It can be no other way. This is one thing that maybe listening to this again, or maybe studying the principles in the Kabbalion, will help you have this realization and this understanding. And that is why I talk so much about that calmness, that calm-centeredness, and the regulation of the nervous system. And that is from there, from that place, you're able to act through love, through harmony, through all the positive emotions, and have that divine guidance and have that true intuition. Because again, self-love is not about being fickle. It's not about giving in to the lower emotions in the moment. That's not self-love. That's self-disrespect. That's self-mutilation. That's self-humiliation. And it's it's terrible what you do to yourself when you inflict pain on other people. You're going to be the one at the receiving end of that pain. Anyways, guys, much love as always. Drop me a like, hit me with a comment, let me know what your thoughts are on this below. Hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.